It's time! Let's get ready to rumble! Of the fifth round, and very narrow the cast, because that's where power comes from. And it is back into a war again to end the sixth round.
And he's using his point jab to try and set that up.
No, you're right, because in previous fights we've seen that he seems kind of awkward, but in this fight he's not a little...
Speed difference, yeah. Well, he tried a crescent kick on him. Anderson, oh, he got hit! Look at the finish it! And it's all over! Chris Weidman is the UFC middleweight champion! My goodness! Oh boy, Bogner might be ready to go! And he's gone! Canelo knocks out!
Staggered Thomas. And a right hand behind it. Thomas in trouble again. And now Tyson moves in for the kill. Two uppercuts and a left hand. Thomas trying to hold on. Serious trouble. And down he goes.
A lot of swelling on that right eye.
Yep. But honestly, that was honestly
With a fighting spirit, and Ngannou is in black, Rosenstrike is in gray. Early inside leg kick is there for Biggie Boy. Oh!
It's all
Rosenstrike is out!
Whoa!
Ngannou!
out bad. Out.
Francis the Predator!
Initiative Joshua just went through his lip like he was making some sort of an impact. Oh, good shot. From Joshua. He's in big trouble here. And he's got it. It's Joshua.
All of you, I know you got him. I know you got him picked, but the man's in trouble. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
Payday. You want payday. I know that.
Microphone check 1 2. What is this? The Knockout Zone podcast is back with a brand new episode. I am your humble and gracious, highly favored host, Kevin Solorsino. And man, do we have once again another jam-packed episode. And let's waste no more time. Let's just jump right into it. Talking, of course, none other than everything that's been going on in the boxing world. Starting off with actually the result of this past Saturday between Arthur Beterbiev and Joe Smith Jr. because we had the Terminator, Arthur Beterbiev, knocking out Joe Smith Jr. in only the second round. And man, what a fight that was. I mean, was it really a fight to get knocked out in the second round by the Terminator, Arthur Beterbiev? And it was crazy because if you look at the fight, in the beginning, in the first round, you know, Joe Smith Jr. was the one that was coming out and putting the pressure on Arthur Beterbiev, which was different, which was what I wasn't expecting. I don't know if you guys were expecting that, but I wasn't. So it surprised me. It really did. But in the end, Joe Smith Jr. just got knocked out. You know, towards the end of the first round, he got knocked down. And that's when once Arthur Beterbiev knocked him down in the first round, I said, okay, this is not going to end pretty. It is not going to, I thought it was going to go 8 to 10 rounds before a knockout. And no, it just went to the second round, and I was surprised. I was like, wow, that is insane that this thing only went to the second round. Okay, yeah, anyway, so yeah, it was just a really good fight, man. It was something that I wasn't expecting. Like I said, I thought it was going to go 8 to 10 rounds. And, you know, for it to finish the way it did, what's next for Arthur Betterbeef, he was talking about saying that he wants to go undisputed, but there is the information that came out this week was, where is it? Let me look for it. Here it is. It says Frank Warren has declared that Arthur Betterbeef versus Anthony Yarde will take place on October 22nd in London, with both parties coming to terms on the agreement. The WBC, IBF, and WBO light heavyweight world titles will be at stake, and their plan is for early next year. Right here from Bob Arum, it says he revealed that Arthur Betterbeef versus Anthony Yarde is a done deal to take place in October in London for the WBC, IBF, and WBO. If Betterbeef wins his unification versus Joe Smith, that was my bad, wrong one on there. But yeah, I guess I didn't get the tweet in. Did I not get it? Did I not get the tweet? No, see, I didn't get the tweet. But yeah, they're talking about that after whatever takes place in this fight, their goal is for next year to have the undisputed fight between either him or Bivol or whoever has that WBA title. And the reason I say maybe Bivol or maybe it's not Bivol, it's all going to depend, right? Because there is that rumor that I talked about last week about the possibility of Dimitri Bivol going against Zurdo Ramirez for the WBA title, since they're both on, one's Golden Boy and the other one is Matchroom, but they're both in the DAZN, on the DAZN network. So maybe they can have the fight there, and then I guess from there they can figure out how they'll do the undisputed fight between either or against none other than Mr. Terminator Arthur Betterbeef. And then in the co-main event, we had a really good co-main event between Robeisy and Train Ramirez, knocking out Abraham Nova in the 5th round. Now, this was a really good fight. I watched it from the beginning, and man, these guys kept going back and forward. But honestly, for me, from what I've seen, boxing and all this stuff, automatically in the 1st round, I knew that Ramirez was going to be a problem for Nova. He was putting that pressure, and it was just until he got that one shot that got him in the 5th round, and that was it. He was just not able to answer the call. And man, if you haven't seen that fight, you really should. Going back to the main event, though, I remember people were like, oh, this is the possibility of what could be fight of the year. To me, a fight of the year has to be, okay, maybe they go the distance, they go 12 rounds, but it's one of those, it's a split decision, and you really don't know, and it could go either way, and you could possibly even just give it a draw. Like, that, to me, is what a fight of the year is. Other than that, what could really be a fight of the year? A fight that ends right away in the 1st round, it is a little, not 1st round, 2nd round, it is a little bit more difficult to say, oh, that's a fight of the year. You could put knockout of the year, most definitely. I think, the Betterbeef and the Ramirez, those could be on potential candidates for top-ranked knockouts of the year, but it all depends on them and how it goes from there. But other than that, man, it was a good main event, a good co-main event, and yeah, I just hope, if you guys didn't watch it, I recommend you guys most definitely watch them. Put those, on Saturday. Today there's good fights going on that I'll preview and talk about them in the end. But other than that, let's see what else do I have on my notes. Oh yeah, so now let's get ready to talk about, I'm releasing right now, officially releasing the Knockout Zone's men pound for pound list. I didn't think I was going to do this, but I wanted to. I want to see what the reaction is like of the people that are listening, and I'm going to post it on Twitter. I'll post it on Instagram and see if I can get some kind of reaction and figure it out. And and kind of figure it out and have it really develop. So before you guys on here will see the pound for pound list, what it means, what is the pound for pound list, what am I putting it off of? I'm putting it off of a couple things. Off of just one thing, and that is accomplishments. What have they accomplished? And then I'll explain why they are where they are. So let's jump right into it. This is, drum roll please, the Knockout Zone's men's pound for pound list in boxing. At number 10, I got none other than the WBC, WBO, IBF light heavyweight champion, Mr. Arthur Beterbiev. Now, the reason I have Beterbiev on here is simple. Not just because he is the light heavyweight champ, but he deserves, not because he has 3 belts as a light heavyweight unified champion. It's because he has now 18 wins and 18 knockouts. That's a 100% knockout ratio. That's insane. Nobody else has that. That to me is insane. Next up at number 9, we have Shakur Stevenson. At number 8, I have Tyson Fury, the WBC and ring lineal champion. There really is no other explanation, but he is the best heavyweight right now in boxing. Is he 100% retired? I don't know the answer to that question. If he is, then maybe him being on this list would be a little bit different. But other than that, if he isn't on the list, if he stays retired, then I won't put him on the list or any future list. But as of right now, there really isn't any say whether he's actually going to be 100% retired or not. So that's why he is on the list. And again, I didn't comment on Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur Stevenson, he's an amazing fighter. He has a WBC, and I think it is the WBO. And he's on he wants to be undisputed at the 130-pound weight division. So kudos to Shakur Stevenson. At number 7, we got Errol Spence Jr. At number 6, we got Naoya Inoue, who is also on the verge of wanting to be undisputed for his division. Now, this is where it gets interesting. This is my top 5. At number 5, we have Jermell Charlo, 35-1. He is the undisputed champion at light middleweight. At number 4, we got the youngest undisputed champion in boxing history, Devin Haney, at 28-0, who is undisputed in the lightweight division. And he deserves to be on here because he is undisputed, and he's only 23 years old, and he's the only undisputed champ who has, he's one of the 2 undisputed champions that have it. Well, actually, no, he is the only current undisputed champion who has a clean sweep, who doesn't have any losses. Now, at number 3, I have Alexander Usyk, who is 19-0, who was undisputed at cruiserweight, but he is only the unified champion in the heavyweight division. So that's the difference between him and Haney. Haney is undisputed, while none other than Mr. Usyk is only unified at the heavyweight division. At number 2, I got my boy Canelo Alvarez, who's 57-2-2. But this is the thing. Some people, he doesn't deserve to be on that pound-for-pound list. He just lost to Dimitri Bivol. First of all, he went up a weight division right now they have the Terminator, who is 18-0, 100% knockout ratio. But not only that, think about it. He's been the world champion in 4 weight classes, and he is still the undisputed champion at 168. So how are you going to tell me that he does not deserve to be on the pound-for-pound list? Heck, I could have said, that is him being the champion of 4 weight classes. That's the argument for him to be number 1. But at number 1, I got Terrence Bud Crawford, who is 38-0, who has been the world champion in 3 weight classes, and he is waiting for Errol Spence Jr. so he can take a shot at being undisputed in that division. So that is my Knockout Zones men's pound-for-pound list. 10, Arthur Beterbiev. 9, Shakur Stevenson. 8, Tyson Fury. 7, Errol Spence Jr. 6, Naoya Inoue. 5, Jermell Charlo. Number 4, Devin Haney. 3, Usyk. 2, Canelo Alvarez. And number 1, Bud Crawford. Now let's talk about the women's pound-for-pound list. At number 1, I got Katie Taylor. At number 2, we have Clarissa Shields. At number 3, we got Jessica McCaskill. At number 4, Amanda Serrano. Number 5, Micaela Mayer. Number 6, Seniesa Estrada. Number 7, Savannah Marshall. Number 8, Christina Hammer. Number 9, Franchon Cruz Dezern. And at number 10, I got Yulihan Luna. This is the women's pound for pound list presented by none other than the Knockout Zone. Now, I didn't break too much into it because, like I said, I'm learning, I'm getting into boxing, and I'm not 100% on the women's list. I was able to get some information, but unfortunately, my dummy forgot to put the stuff on my phone to read off their information. But I do know that, you got Katie Taylor, you got Jessica, I think Franchon. I think those are the 3 undisputed. Maybe Franchon can, Franchon Cruz Dezern could and should be up higher, but that is just my first crack at that list. I think sometime next month, there's a couple fights that are going to be happening for this women's, for the women's boxing, and some of them are on the list, so I'll see how that turns out. But I promise you this, ladies, if you are listening, on the next one, I will give a better detailed pound for pound list for women's boxing. But I just figured, hey, if I'm going to do the men's, might as well do the women's. So anyways, there it is, the women's pound for pound list. Now, let's get into all of things regarding the news of the boxing world. Okay, so Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz has been reportedly planned for a new date of Sunday, September 4th in Los Angeles in the Crypto.com arena. And it looks like the main event, or the co-main event, will be Isaac Pitbull Cruz versus Eduardo Ramirez. I think that's going to be the co-main event. And it's crazy because I think Pitbull Cruz is going to be in his, 3rd fight in less than 9 months. So shout out to Pitbull Cruz. Ever since his fight against Tank Davis, he's been becoming the star of zone. And for him to be in another fight, that's awesome for him, so kudos to him. But let's talk real quick about the main event, and I'm honestly excited. I'm going Andy Ruiz all the way. I hope that one day he can become the undisputed champion at the heavyweight division. It is interesting, though, that he is no longer part of Eddie Reynoso. He's no longer under Eddie Reynoso. He's making another coaching change. So we will see how that goes. But it's going to be interesting there. But other than that, I am going with none other than Mr. Andy Ruiz Jr. to beat Luis Ortiz. Now let's talk about Bob Arum. Bob Arum says that he is eyeing a possible Tyson Fury versus Joe Joyce fight in October at Wembley Stadium in London. Now, this one is interesting, right? Because last week I talked about there's a possibility of Fury versus the winner of AJ and Usyk, which most likely it should, not the winner of, but I felt like the guy that Fury wants to go up against is none other than Mr. Tyson Fury wants to go up against AJ. He's been calling out, saying that that's who he has been wanting to fight. So it's going to be interesting there to see if that actually happens, because there's the whole, I want $500,000. Anyways, but let's go more into what's been going on with Tyson Fury, right? This is a quote. This is via Telegraph Sport on Twitter. This is what Tyson Fury said. He said, "If I do come back, it'll be a sad day for me, and it'll be that I've let money overcome my morality because I've put achievements before money. But if someone wants to put $500 million on the table, I will test that morality for sure." And also, in regards to this whole Tyson Fury thing, he's been banned from the U.S. due to his connections with Daniel Kinahan. Now,
okay, here's an interesting breaking story. Tyson Fury, heavyweight champion, guy who's knocked out all comers. He's been banned from entering the U.S. Now, why is that? It's because of his ties with a guy named Daniel Kinahan, who the U.S. just put out $5 million bounty on him, his father, and his brother, which is as big as the one that brought El Chapo in. These are gangsters from Dublin, Ireland. They've been heavily involved in boxing, managing Tyson Fury at one point and others. And they had $1 billion in property seized by the British, and the British had to give it back because their money laundering is so tight.
he's been doing a bunch of interviews, and that's the thing is because he is doing interviews, he's talking about Usyk and Joshua and retirement and all this stuff. It makes me wonder, is he really retired? Because in a way, you're kind of doing a tour, and it's not like a farewell tour. You keep talking about retirement, and it's like, bro, if you're retired, you're 100% fully retired. Other comments that he had, right? Like another comment that came out yesterday via IFL TV. He says, I'm all out of getting punched in the face for a few quid. Got plenty of money. Still got my faculties and brains. Yeah, still got my faculties and brains about me. 6 kids and a wife to look after. So if anyone wants to criticize me for that, they can go suck my BALLS, basically. Well, did not expect him to get that kind of way. Anyways, yeah, and then also here's another quote on regards of Tyson Fury and his WBC title. He says, I've at least got a year, Mauricio Sulaiman said. Maybe in 6 months I'll feel different. At the minute, I don't want to fight again. But you never know what 6 months will bring. When a mandatory comes up, I'll make my final decision. His comments on Joshua, he said, try to make that fight 6 times at least and unsuccessful every time because you're messing with the prima donna. Little sucker who don't want to fight. He couldn't beat me if he had a baseball bat while I was sleeping. And his comments towards Usyk, he said, Alexander Usyk's only just come into this generation 1 fight ago, so you can't put him in it. He's a middleweight blown up. He can't compare. Been a heavyweight 2 years when you've been a heavyweight 10 to 15 years. Come back and we'll talk. So see, his comments there, he talks about Anthony Joshua being a prima donna. But his comments about Usyk is just, it confirms to me saying that he does not want to fight Usyk. He says, we'll see in 6 months once there's a mandatory for the WBC. I don't think it'll be in 6 months when there's a mandatory. I think he will make up his decision when Anthony Joshua and Usyk finally go at it in Usyk and Joshua 2. If AJ wins, then I think the rumblings will start of Fury and Joshua, right? Because Joshua made some comments yesterday, right? Let me pull up the comments. I have them here in my notes. Where is it? Here it is. It says, this is from Anthony Joshua, and I quote, I feel when I go and beat Alexander Usyk, I'll get the credit I deserve again. I'll get the admiration for being a true boxing legend. You're saying that once you beat Usyk, that you'll get the recognition of being a boxing legend. You want to be a boxing legend? You got to be undisputed. You have to be the guy who beats Usyk, grabs that microphone, and says, Tyson Fury, you're next. You have to say, no more ifs, no more buts. You said that we tried putting the fight together 6 times and it didn't work. You call me a prima donna, all this stuff. Get your butt out of retirement and let's fight for undisputed. You beat Fury, then you're a boxing legend. Even though you have some great victories over some legends, well, yeah, I guess so in a way. Klitschko was, he is a boxing legend, but some other guys on his resume questionable. But what's on your resume is you lost to Andy Ruiz, who you overlooked, and then you lost to a blown up middleweight in Usyk. So that kind of dampens your whole legacy act. Not legacy act, but your whole, when it comes to being a legend of the boxing game. So for me, Joshua, if you want to be a boxing legend, you got to be undisputed. And it has to be you beating Tyson Fury. Because in the heavyweight division, the man is Tyson Fury. He is the WBC and the ring lineal champion. So if you want to be a boxing legend, you can be the WBA, WBO, IBF, IBO. You can have those 4 titles and be a unified champion. But you need to be undisputed in order to be that guy, that boxing legend that other people will always talk about. That will overlook, in a way, you losing to to Ruiz and Usyk. And the only way is by being undisputed and beating none other than Tyson Fury. All right, cool. Yeah, so let's keep it going in the news. Josh Taylor has now confirmed that he is staying at super lightweight, and his next fight will see him defend his WBC, IBF, and WBO world titles against Jose Cepeda. He insisted that the reason he's decided to remain at 140 is to get the Jack Catterall rematch after he fights Jose Cepeda. Josh Taylor said, and I quote, "The only reason I'm staying at the weight is to fight Jack Catterall again. All the abuse I've been getting and the way Jack's been, I just want to shut his mouth. The single reason I'm staying at the weight is to shut him and everyone else up." He also claimed, It's frustrating. I'm not scared to fight anybody, but boxing fans are so fickle. They change like the weather. And if they didn't have that keyboard in front of them, there's no way they'd say that. Now, it's true. I agree. It's going to be interesting. You want to stay in there. You want that match against Jack Catterall. It'll be interesting. I hope that you do get it. I think it would be an awesome, amazing fight between them two. But it's all going to depend. He has to beat Jose Cepeda. And we'll see once that fight comes in. We'll see how I'm feeling towards who will win that fight. Now, Canelo versus Triple G will be taking place at the T-Mobile Arena, and honestly, I'm disappointed on the venue of choice. I'm about to go on a rant right here. I get it. The first two fights were there, so why not make the trilogy there? That is true to a certain extent. But to me, as a Canelo fan, I am disappointed. I don't know if to be disappointed in Canelo or if to be disappointed in Eddie Hearn and Matchroom and DAZN. But this fight, it should have been in Mexico. It should have been in el Estadio Azteca, or it should have been in, that's where it should have been. It should have been in Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, right? Where you could put the boxing ring in the middle and have over 100,000 people in that stadium to make that fight feel like a real trilogy. That's what I feel. I feel like doing it at the T-Mobile Arena. Like I said, I get it. That's where the other two fights have been, so it makes sense. Why not do it there? Or why not? Why didn't they do it at the Cowboys Stadium in Texas? Have 70 to 80,000 people in that stadium. You get where I'm going with this? This fight, like, I get it. Some people say what you want to say, but it is a trilogy, and it's going to go down as a top 5 trilogy. Because even after Canelo beat him the second time, Triple G won, Triple G won, Triple G this, Triple G that, Triple G this, Triple G that. So why not give this fight that kind of feeling? And that feeling is that this fight should be in one of the biggest stadiums that you could do it at. Especially on this side. You don't think that stadium would have sold out in Estadio Azteca in Mexico City? Oh, yes, most definitely. I get it if there's, in a way you kind of want to even the playing field when it comes to the fans. But think about it. There's Mexicans for Triple G. There's Mexicans, there's, those, I don't know if they're real or not, but I remember seeing those photos of Triple G wearing a sombrero and all that Mexico stuff. Like, dude, there's Mexicans who love and support Triple G and hate Canelo Alvarez. So, dude, that stadium could have been rocking in Mexico City with over 100,000. I think it holds I think Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. did a fight there, and I think they did 112, 120, somewhere in that range when it came to the number of fans. So you're going to tell me that Canelo and Triple G cannot do the same? Bro, that's a lie if you don't think that they can do the same, because they can, most definitely. So that's why, to me, I'm disappointed that this fight will be taking place there. Also, since we are going to be staying on that topic of Mexico City, Mexico ended up setting a world record for having 14,299 people attend a massive boxing class, which had, so many current and former Mexican fighters as the instructors for that massive class. You had Eric Morales, Andy Ruiz, and Oscar Valdez. And like I said, so many more. Also in the news, you do have Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall will be taking place on September 10th in London, England. Jermall Charlo was talking about saying that he wants to join his twin brother on the list of being an undisputed champ. Let me pull out the quote. Here it is. Jermall Charlo, and I quote, "I'm getting overlooked right now in the division. It's not me, y'all. I'm the 160-pound champion. Where are all the other belts at? I want all the belts in the division like my brother Jermell. I want to be able to unify and become one of the best middleweights to go down in history." Well, dude, if you want to be one of the undisputed champions in boxing, then you got to do your part. You're the WBC 160-pound champion, but why aren't you calling out Gennady Golovkin? Why aren't you trying to go at Triple G instead of letting Triple G and Canelo go at it? And not only that, why do you keep calling out Canelo Alvarez to begin with? That doesn't make sense. You keep calling him out. You keep saying, oh, I want to go up against Triple G. You keep saying, I want to go up against Canelo. I want Canelo. I want Canelo. Why? Canelo's in a whole different division than you, dude. So you're going to tell me that you want to go up against him? For what? You want to be undisputed? Then focus on your division. Focus in the 160-pound middleweight division. Stop calling out other people. Stop talking about Benavidez. Stop talking about all those people who are not in your weight class, and focus on your weight class. You should be the one putting all the money on the table to fight Triple G, but you're not. And I think Andre has who has, let me see, who has the other? Let's see. You got. Yeah, see? Why aren't you offering Demetrius Andre, why aren't you offering him a bunch of money? It doesn't make sense to me, Jermall. You keep saying that you want to be undisputed. I think you're in boxing for the money. You're not fighting. You want to be undisputed? Then why aren't you mentioning Triple G? Why aren't you mentioning Demetrius Andrade? Why aren't you mentioning them? Stop mentioning Canelo and stop mentioning, don't mention Canelo, don't mention Benavidez. Mention people in your division, especially if you want to be undisputed. Otherwise, you're only in this for the money. And if you're in it for the money, undisputed is the way to go. Why not after this Triple G fight, tell Triple G, hey, what's the number you want in order for me to fight you and take that belt from you? And you tell Andrade too, what's the number you want? Look at what Devin Haney did to be undisputed. He took what? 2.4, 2.8 million? While George Kambosos Jr. made over 10 million? That is what a boxer wants to do when he wants to be undisputed. He don't care what his purse is if he ends up being undisputed. Sorry. I didn't want to go on a big old tangent there, but anyways, moving on. Shakur Stevenson is set to defend his unified 130-pound titles on Friday, September 23rd in his native New York, New Jersey against top 10 junior lightweight Robson Conecao. Sources tell Mike Coppinger via Twitter. There is no official agreement signed, but both sides are closing in on a deal. Katie Taylor versus Chris Cyborg is reportedly in the talks to a potential fight to take place in December. This will be a boxing match. Chris Cyborg, for those of you who don't know, she is an MMA legend, a former UFC champion, but she's never had a professional boxing match before. So this is interesting to me because, it's interesting in the way that, is this going to be an exhibition? Or will this be Chris Cyborg making her, professional boxing debut? Anyways, moving on. Let me see what else do I have in my notes. Oh yeah, let's talk about ESPN removing Devin Haney from their pound-for-pound list, but keeping Vasily Lomachenko and adding Arthur Beterbiev. Yo, that is insane. You kept Lomachenko, who is fighting a war in Ukraine. Respect and kudos to that man. But you're keeping him in there, who he isn't inactive, doesn't hold any belts, and you take out the king of the 135-pound division. You take out Devin Haney? That doesn't make any sense. Tell me where that makes sense. This is why people say that ESPN's pound-for-pound rankings are ridiculous, and I honestly feel like they are. Because how does that make sense? It pisses me off because Devin Haney deserves to be in it over Lomachenko. Loma's a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but he's inactive and he doesn't hold any titles. Devin Haney holds all the titles for that division. So tell me how that makes sense. I get it. Cool, you added Arthur Beterbiev. He deserves to be on it. To me, I prefer to have Arthur Beterbiev over Dmitry Bivol because Beterbiev has 3 titles while Bivol only has 1 title in that same light heavyweight division. Yes, I get it. He beat Canelo. But again, he beat a Canelo who moved up to 175 pound, not his normal weight. He looked slow. He looked heavier than, he looked really heavy compared to what he normally probably fights on fight day. And Bivol was just the bigger and better dude that night. It happens. But to me, for ESPN to have Lomachenko over Devin Haney, that's ridiculous. That's preposterous. I don't know. Anyways, it's ridiculous. It's insane, dude. It just doesn't make sense, ESPN. It doesn't. You're supposed to be the mecca of sports. You're the worldwide leader in sports. And you do this to boxing? Who votes on this? It doesn't make any sense that you would not have Devin Haney over Loma. It's ridiculous. Anyways, let's jump into this whole Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury thing. Now, before I jump into it, I'm going to play this video here. Oh, not this video. I'm going to play this audio. It's all the audio from all the audio clips that everyone's been releasing. John Fury, Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, etc. I didn't cut out the cuss words, so there'll be a little bit warning before it plays off. You'll hear I have a background beat that I made. You probably heard it last time on the end of the other episode. I have it on there. I kind of try to balance it out. I'm trying not to get a copyright infringement, whatever you want to call it, on this video. So hopefully I don't. So hopefully you guys can still hear this, and I'm just going to let it play for you guys so you guys listen to all the drama and what it finally came down to, which is, there will be a fight between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. So anyways, let me play that for you guys, and then I'll see you at the end of this, I think it's like 8-minute audio. So enjoy.
Warning, the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Quick video. People's mentioning me saying I'm saying that there's negotiations in place for Tommy to fight this clown from overseas. It's not true. I'm having nothing to do with this at all. It's a pile of shit. And I don't like anybody what's associated to those people over there. They're nothing but a pack of tossers, YouTubers, and I'm not interested in it one bit in any way, shape or form. So people, hear this. Don't keep using my name saying I'm saying this and I'm saying that, because it's not true. I want nothing to do with this farce at all. Not now, not ever. Have a pleasant evening.
Yet again, I wake up this morning to another text from my manager saying that Tommy Fury is pulling out of the fight. We agreed to all of the terms. Everything is ready to go. We're 45 days away from the fight. We agreed to his $2 million purse. We agreed to VADA testing, extra flights, extra rooms, extra tickets to the fight. We're scheduled to have a press conference next week in New York. His whole entire team was like, yeah, everything's good. We're signing the contract today. It kept on getting pushed. Till now. What's the excuse? oh, I can't come and I can't do it because my dad can't be there with me during the fight. Well, Tommy, your dad has been banned from the United States for 15 years. You've known this the whole entire time. He's a criminal. He's not allowed in. When you fought Anthony Taylor in Cleveland, neither Tyson nor your dad were there with you in your U.S. debut. And now all of a sudden you need your team with you? That doesn't make any fucking sense. I will agree to not have my team around me during the fight week. I will agree to not fight with my coaches in my corner. We could both fight solo, dolo, just like Devin Haney was going to do against George Kambosos. This is what real boxers do. This is what real boxers, they make fights fucking happen. You're scared. You claim you're a professional boxer, but you don't want to make the fight with me, who you talk so much shit about, who you said you will spark, who you say I'm nothing compared to you. Where's all that shit talk now, Tommy? You're a fucking atypical professional boxer who doesn't want to make this fight actually fucking happen. This is the biggest opportunity of your fucking life, and you're fumbling the fucking bag once again, and I can't believe how fucking stupid you are. Fucking idiot.
All team about this fight. Listen, mate, we want this fight with you, but there's one problem. We can't travel. Tommy hasn't got a team. His team members are not allowed in America at the present point of time. So Madison Square Garden, mate, ain't accessible for us, is it? And you know that. You know, and we want this fight with you, Jake, because we know we can beat you, mate. So what we'll do, we'll take less money and we'll fight you anywhere else in the world. Yeah? Because we can't travel. And Tommy, he's not going to start getting new teams in 4 weeks and getting different things and other strange people involved, because that don't work. Where is people? Where is guidance? Especially me. And you're talking to me now because I'm in charge, me, of Tommy's career. So, here's what we're going to do. If you want this fight, my friend, you've got it. But we can't take it in America. But we will negotiate less money to fight elsewhere in the world. Yeah? And if you can't do it, you can't do it. And to be honest with you, at this moment in time, the 6th of August is being very poorly promoted, mate, isn't it? It's shocking. And I think there's a better job can be done of it, to be fair with you. It's all rush, rush, rush. And, you know, anything done in a rush never gets done properly in my book. But hear this, mate. If you want to leave it till September, everybody in Britain, mate's on holiday. It's very hard to get things done. Us British, we holiday in July and August. So we can't get a proper team together because everyone wants to be with their wives and kids, as you well know. You know, so it's a bit of a sticky time. But if you can't do it, you can't do it, mate. But at a later date, you know, September, October, whenever, you know, if you really want the fight, you can have it. But you can have it on the 6th of August, mate, but it's got to be not in America. Because all us, I'll be honest with you, at the minute are suspended. I'm banned for life. I can't get to here at all. Tyson can't get over there because he's got a few issues at the moment, what he's trying to sort out. So Tommy has got no team. So listen, if you want to negotiate a different price, we'll take less money to fight you anywhere else in the world on the 6th of August. If you can't do it, mate, there's not a problem. We'll get you again. But this needs to be promoted properly. And at the minute, it's a poor job. So if you're interested, that's it. Anywhere else in the world on the 6th of August, we'll take less money. If you can't do that, mate, there's no fight. Yeah? You can do whatever else you want, but not interested in what you do, pal. Not interested. We're fighting people. You do what you got to do. You know, we're not interested. Anywhere else in the world, less money, contact us and we'll game on. Otherwise, no. Okay, pal? Have a good one.
Fight on August 6th is going ahead. The contract has been signed after weeks and weeks of waiting for Jake Paul to sign up to the drug testing and potentially putting the fight at risk. He's finally signed up to the drug testing. We've agreed a contract that we're happy with, so the fight is going ahead, and I'll see you August 6th.
Beautiful day for a walk.
Hey, why are you with him? He hasn't even fought a real boxer yet.
Jake Paul should be fighting a real fighter.
He has to face real opponents.
Not somebody like Woodley. Hey, Jake! When are you gonna fight a real boxer, huh?
I'm not gonna respect Jake Paul until he faces a professional fighter.
Fighting non-boxers. I am not impressed.
Hey, is that Jake Paul? Hey, fight a real boxer, pussy.
Jake Paul for the YouTuber.
Fight a real boxer! Fight a real boxer!
You have to fight a real boxer, Jake.
I know the rookie. Fight a real boxer, pussy!
Whatever, bro. I should cook you, fucker.
Fight a real boxer, pussy!
Oh, yeah, you're just gonna turn into a Chick-fil-A sandwich anyways. I'll fight a real boxer when I want to, huh? Come at me, bro.
Pussy! wrong? What's wrong?
I had a dream that everyone was telling me to fight a real boxer.
Babe, this is real life. You don't fight real boxers.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. That was scary. Oh, it's Nikisa, my manager. Oh, hello?
Big news. It's Nikisa. You're fighting an undefeated boxer, Tommy Fury.
No! I'm just kidding. I'm gonna fuck this professional boxer up. Professional boxer. Hold my beer, babe. It's time to start training.
So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, sorry for the language. I will do my best next time to edit that language out. So, yes, it is official. Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury on August 6th at Madison Square Garden. The co-main event will be Amanda Serrano versus Brenda Carabajal, and that is going to be a really good of a fight. But let's talk about the main event. Let's talk about the boxer or wannabe boxer, whatever you want to call him, Jake Paul, finally going up against a pro boxer in Tommy Fury and what this means. Now, me, when it comes to Jake Paul, I have my opinions about him. I've always said he needs to fight real boxers. It's annoying. Well, it's not annoying, but it's ridiculous that you keep fighting these boxers, or you keep having these boxing fights and you're fighting MMA dudes or guys who, basketball players, whatever the case may be. It's ridiculous. But I give him kudos to the numbers, the pay-per-view buys, because he has an audience. He's a YouTube vlogger. He's done music. He has casual boxing fans, or not even casual boxing fans. He has people who aren't boxing fans tune into his fights. So that brings in and does huge numbers, right? As you guys heard there, the details, we don't know what the final purse will be. Once that information comes out, Tommy Fury wants $2 million, all this stuff that Jake Paul says that he is agreeing to when it comes to Tommy Fury. Now, believe it or not, the pressure is on for Tommy Fury. You wanted the fight, now you got the fight. It's going to be interesting. His dad won't be there, I guess, and neither will Tyson Fury. For me, if I'm Tommy Fury, I'm calling up Tyson and I'm saying, hey, can I go train with Sugar Hill? Let me get in with Sugar Hill, because we've seen what Tyson Fury has become with Sugar Hill as his coach. To me, if you put Tommy Fury with Sugar Hill, then we'll see him knock out, we'll see him knock out Jake Paul, no question there. But it is interesting to see which way Tommy Fury will go and how this mess is going to get sorted out. There's supposed to be a press conference next week, I think, right? That's what Jake Paul said. So it's going to be interesting to see if Tommy Fury will be able to be in the United States for that, how they're going to fix that whole legal situation and what strings they can pull for that. But going back to it, the pressure is on Tommy Fury. Because you wanted him, you got him. You got to make sure that you're going to do the right thing and beat this man. You don't need to knock him out. You just need to pick up the victory. But what does this do for Jake Paul? Now, see, this is where it gets interesting. Is if Jake Paul loses, does the hate and love that people have for him in the sport of boxing, does it die off? Does it fall off a cliff? And do we never see him again? Because right now, actually, after this, Mike Tyson says that he wouldn't, he likes the idea of possibly fighting Jake Paul. So if Tommy Fury beats Jake Paul, right, what does that do for Jake Paul and his boxing career, his boxing life, or whatever the case is? He says that he's fully dedicated to boxing. He's still vlogging and stuff, but he's training. He's doing all this stuff when it comes to the sport. So if he loses, what does this really do for the sport? Well, not for the sport, my bad. What does it really do for him? Does he stay on the on the pedestal that he's put himself, where he's popular. He has so many fans tuning into his fight. He's selling pay-per-views. People love him and hate him. In a way, he's kind of like Floyd Mayweather. You know, Floyd Mayweather made so much money in pay-per-view buys because people either wanted to see him win or people wanted to see him lose. And that's how I feel Jake Paul is. People want to see him win and people want to see him lose. But when it comes to Tommy Fury, if you lose to Jake Paul, what does this do for you? Especially having the name that you have, which is you're a Fury. Your older brother is Tyson Fury, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. What does this do for you? Where would this put your career? Would anybody be interested in you after? Or if you lose, what would this do to you? Would you be like, oh, I got my $2 million, I don't care, and you keep on going and you have a whatever career like Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.? Or do you beat Jake Paul and kind of have everybody be like, okay, yo, Tommy Fury, you know, whether you beat Jake Paul and people want to say, oh, he's a fighter or he's not a real boxer, whatever the case is, but he beats Jake Paul, oh, he's going to be getting a lot of fights. He's going to get a lot of people interested. You know, Top Rank, I don't know who he signed to, but it's going to have a lot of people interested in what this will turn out to be for Tommy Fury going forward. So that is interesting, man. And I'll get more into it as we get closer to fight date, but that's just my thing, is it can go either way. There's good and bad. You know, the good, my bad, I didn't talk about the good for Jake Paul, right? He beats him, and oh my goodness, it's going to be countless stuff. It's going to be insane. Oh, he beat a professional boxer. Y'all can stop talking now. And, you know, will this lead into him fighting more pro boxers? Or will he just be like, hey, I beat him, and then I'll go fight Nate Diaz next? Because that's a rumor there. Or I'll go fight Mike Tyson. Now, if he fights Mike Tyson, that's going to be an interesting one there. Let me actually play that clip right now of Mike Tyson talking about Jake Paul, and it was on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Jake Paul, he keeps saying he wants to fight you. Do you want to fight him?
That could be very interesting.
It could be interesting.
I never took it really serious, but yeah, that could be really interesting.
You think that he is skilled enough to make it something that you might actually want to do?
He's skilled enough, yes. I'm going to give it to him. He's skilled enough because he's winning.
Uh-huh.
Even if he's fighting guys that your guys don't believe are good enough fighters, they should be able to beat him.
Right.
Right, but they can't.
Right.
So he's beating people who really, he shouldn't really be beating. We got to give him that credit. He's beating people that he really should not be beating.
Right.
And he's doing good, man. For a guy that he's just doing it, and you know, this is good. And he's doing so much good for boxing. Listen, this guy got 70 million people following him every time he fights.
Right, yeah.
The champions in the world don't have that many people following them. So what he's doing to boxing is just sensational. No one should be hating on that. They should just care. Let's just fight him. He's helping everybody get money.
So
why are people mad at him?
So that's something you might be interested in.
If everything's possible, yeah. But it gotta happen this year. Gotta happen this year.
I hope you guys enjoyed that clip about Mike Tyson, and he says that it's interesting that he would possibly want to fight Jake Paul. He says that it needs to happen this year. So if Jake Paul and Tommy Fury go at it in August, this fight can happen at the end of the year in December. Where? I don't know. Maybe I'm guessing it would possibly happen in Vegas, or they could sell out Madison Square Garden. My question is, will it be a real pro boxing fight? Will it be an exhibition? I think if it's an exhibition, I think Jake Paul will take that fight. But my thing is this, if it's an exhibition, could we possibly see a fixed fight? I don't want to see that. I would love to see Mike Tyson knock out Jake Paul. But guess what? If he knocks out Jake Paul in an exhibition fight, Jake Paul going to walk right off and say, hey, that don't even count against my record. And if he beats Tommy Fury, he's going to say, yo, I stepped in with... If he beats Tommy Fury and then goes and steps into the ring with Mike Tyson, oh, man, this guy is going to be feeling himself for months to come until his next fight. He's going to say, yo, I stepped into... And if he goes the distance with Mike Tyson, he's going to say, yo, I beat Tommy Fury. I went the distance with Mike Tyson in an exhibition fight. I'm on top of the world right now. So it is interesting there. But that pretty much covers all of the boxing news. I'm going to play a little break, and then let's play a little break in between here, and let's jump right into the mixed martial arts world. All right. And I am back. Now, I didn't talk about the boxing preview. I forgot to do the boxing preview, but I will be doing that at the end. And so we'll do the boxing preview, and then we'll talk about the UFC fight nights, and then we will go from there. So this past weekend we had UFC fight night. In the main event, we had Calvin Kattar versus Josh Emmett, and Josh Emmett got a real controversial split decision over Kattar after their 5th round fight. Now, when it comes to this, I agree with everybody else on so many levels. I feel like Kattar was robbed. I feel like he was. I mean, dude, you can just easily look at the photos of how Emmett looked after the fight. Look, and the reason I am doing it, the reason I'm going with everybody, I'm going to pull out these numbers. Let me pull out these numbers for you. Right? You had the only thing, right? I mean, look, Emmett, he got 8 out of 9 leg kicks, and he landed 26 out of 37 body shots, while Kattar only went 1 for 1 on leg kicks, and he went 15 of 23 on body shots. But check this out. Kattar went 114 out of 351 headshots compared to Emmett with 73 out of 286. In significant strikes, he landed 130 strikes out of 375, while Emmett only landed 107 out of 332, and total strikes total strikes, just going off of what I'm reading off of ESPN, he landed 131, Kattar landed 131 out of 376, while Emmett landed 107 out of 332. And Emmett tried 4 takedowns and accomplished 0. So I'm in agreement there. Just look at the numbers and look how these guys looked after the fight. Emmett's face was destroyed compared to Kattar's. And in the numbers, it is proven there. Kattar won that fight. It sucks. It really sucks. Anyways, about to play this clip of Dana White talking about and saying, yo, Nate Diaz should fight Jake Paul. It makes sense.
The last one on Nate, because I know that these questions sort of kill you, but last night he did tweet that he wants out because it's suggesting he wants to go box Jake Paul. When you see stuff like that, what is your reaction? Do you even react? Do you roll your eyes? What do you even think?
No, I mean, I like Nate. Let's be honest. Nate's won one fight in the last 5 or 6 years. You know, when these guys get into these positions, you got guys that have been with us for a long time that we respect, that we care about. You know, you got the Cerrones and Anthony Pettis before he left, and you got Nate Diaz and Nick Diaz is still under contract with us. So you want to be fair to everybody. You want to do the right things, whatever. Nate Diaz isn't going to come in and fight Kamaru Usman or. Listen, we're trying to do the best we can. We're trying not to shit on anybody and disrespect anybody, but it's not like we're talking about Kamaru Usman here. We're talking about Nate Diaz. Nate's won 1 fight in 5 years, so we're trying to figure this thing out with him. He probably should go on and fight Jake Paul. That's a fight that makes sense.
So this is interesting. I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here. Dana White says that Nate Diaz should fight Jake Paul. in a boxing match. Makes sense. Bro, why don't you just release Nate Diaz then and let him do what he wants? He says in the video, right, he talked about, yo, I'm obligated. You know, the UFC is obligated to have each fighter fight 3 times a year. When they don't fight, guess what? We pay them to stay at home and not fight. So you're telling me you rather pay Nate Diaz to stay at home and not fight than just to give him dude, you don't even have to answer his wishes. Give him a whatever fight and let him finish his contract. This is my thing when it comes to the UFC. The same thing I talked about a couple weeks ago with Dustin Poirier. He wanted a fight and they're not offering him anything. Why does the UFC do this? You have over 2,000 fighters. You're putting on shows every weekend. And you're telling me, but Dana White says, he's won one fight in the last 5 years? Bro, he's still a name. He's still a draw. Look at Conor McGregor. How many fights has he won in the last 3 years? But guess what? He is still a draw. And if you don't want to use him as a draw, then let him go. If he wants to try, if he wants to give a shot at boxing, let him. If he wants to go to Bellator, if he wants to go to PFL MMA, wherever he wants to go, Nate Diaz, just let him. Give him his last pay of the year. However many more times you got to pay him this year. Pay it and let him go. This is ridiculous. And it's the same. The way that I'm being about this, it's the same way when it comes to boxing. When boxers get shelved, it doesn't make sense to me. If you're putting on events every weekend, how can you not find this guy an opponent? When people are calling him out, when he's calling out other fighters, how can you not give him a fight? It just doesn't make any sense, dude. It doesn't. Free Nate Diaz, man. And for you to say, it makes sense for him to fight Jake Paul, Dana White, come on, bro. You're better than that. You should be like, no, I'm going to get this guy a fight 100%. Dude, put him and McGregor. Who cares? Let them go at it. Just give him a fight and let him out of his contract. Anyways, I'm just thinking what all the other fans are thinking. That's just me. So, also, regards to what happened during this UFC Austin Fight Night in Austin, Texas, let's talk about Kevin Holland, and let's give him a round of applause and a major props to him stopping an alleged perfume thief before his fight that took place on that day, which he ended up picking, I think, a submission victory in round 2. So kudos to him. I already did the round of applause. Let's just do another round of applause. I'm going to play that clip, and then from there, we will jump into some interesting news.
Warning, the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
So I saw 2 guys running after some other guy. I thought they were just like fucking around playing. But then I heard the guy say, one of the guys chasing, he's like, if you drop it, I won't fuck you up.
Right.
I'm like, oh shit, that guy got robbed. But by the time I pulled out my phone to record any of it, they were like, gone.
We're sitting here, Oren booked the wrong reservations, so we're just sitting out here with nothing to do. And we had got some water from the liquor and wine spot, what Coach had did. And we see some guy running down the street. So we opened up our cardio, chased the crackhead. That's how we did it. That's what we did today. Chase. We will catch people. It's fun. It's a great workout.
He was like, all right. And everybody's walking down this way, like, where'd these fuckers go? Look.
Caught another bad guy.
My man. We got it.
My man. Don't test our cardio, baby.
Yeah, man. So, kudos to Kevin Holland, man. That was awesome that he did that, man. Superhero right there, man. So, according to MMA Sound, I saw this on Facebook. Don't know how 100% true this is, so do not quote me and do not quote the Knockout Zone. According to MMA Sound, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev is being targeted for UFC 281 on October 27 for the lightweight vacant title. I don't know how true that is. Again, do not quote me on that, boy. But it would be awesome for them to put that fight where it will happen. I don't know. It would be cool to see that fight happen in Brazil, in Oliveira's home country. But again, I would not be surprised if this happened in Vegas. Probably. I think this would probably be a fight that would go for Vegas. But just wanted to share that little piece of rumor. Now, before we get into previewing everything that's going to happen this Saturday night, I want to talk about how upset I was for the Ultimate Fighter this week. There was a fight between Hannah Guy and Brogan Walker. If you guys did not watch that fight, it is on ESPN Plus. It is the most recent episode. I think it's called Make It Ugly. It's on there and you guys can check it out. I was upset, dude. If you watch this fight should have gone to 3 rounds. They give two 5-minute rounds, and at the end of it, if the judges feel that it should go into a 3rd round, into a survival round, or however they want to call it, it goes into that round. And this fight should have gone there. It should have gone to a 3rd round. The first round was won by Brogan Walker, but the 2nd round, Hannah Guy was dominating Walker, and it should have gone to a 3rd and final round. The coaches, her coach, Hannah Guy's coach, I think she is Team Nunes. She was pissed off, or I think it might have been. Let me check, dude. Let me double check. No, she's Team Peña. My bad. Hannah Guy is Team Juliana Peña. And dude, this fight should have gone. Even Dana White, bro. Dana White, and I think it was Forrest Griffin. I don't know. Damn it, dude. I forgot. I can't go. My bad. But anyways, Dana White, he was like, yo, like, this thing should have gone to the 3rd round. And he was upset with the judges. He's like, yo, how did the judges not see how everybody else saw it? Yes, Walker and Amanda were celebrating their victory. But Hannah Guy, Juliana Peña, she was the one that was confused. She's like, this doesn't make sense. How did this fight not go into a 3rd round? Anyways, recommend you guys to watch if you guys want to be pissed off, but watch a really good fight, but get pissed off in the result. That's a good one right there. So now let's jump into the previews for this weekend. In the UFC, we are going to have UFC Fight Night. The main event between Arman Tsarukyan, who is 18-2, versus Matsuis Gamrot, who is 20-1. I am going to go with none other than Gamrot to get the victory over Arman. Now, let me see what other fights, because I didn't write it down. Of course I didn't. I'm still working on it, guys. Sorry. What other fights are going to be happening on that card? It's going to be a good card. I'm going to watch it. I'm not, again, I'm learning about all of these fighters. I'm sorry if I don't know how to pronounce their names, and I'm sorry if I don't really have that much background info. I have more background info on boxers, and I'm sorry about that. But yes, so in the lightweight main event, you got Arman versus Gamrot. Yeah, it's going to take place tomorrow, or today, my bad. Yeah, it'll be taking place today, Saturday night. And then you also have in the co-main event, you have Neil Magny versus Shakovet Rakhmonov. And then you also have Josh Parisian versus Alan Baydot. It starts at 8 p.m. Main card starts at 8 p.m. Mountain Time, which is 10 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, so anyways, that was a bad preview. My bad, I'm just laughing about it. That was a bad preview, but yeah, that is the preview for UFC Fight Night. Again, I don't know those guys, but I will be watching, and I'm improving on the MMA section, and I will be back next week talking about whatever took place. Yeah, we'll be talking about whatever took place on UFC Fight Night. Now let's get ready to talk about this upcoming boxing card presented by Matchroom and DAZN. So let's talk about the three big fights that will be happening. We have Morjdan Akhmadiev, who is 10-0, will be defending his IBF and WBA junior featherweight titles against Ronnie Rios, who is 33-3. I'm going with Murodjan, who is 10-0, who's the champion. You know, it's going to be, dude, it's a crazy fight. Think about it. A guy who is 10-0 against someone who is 33-3. The experience is there, but I'm going with the champ to defend. And then we got Jessica, who is the undisputed welterweight champion, Jessica McCaskill. I hope I pronounced that right. Against Alma Ibarra, who is 10-1. I am going with the underdog there to go with Alma Ibarra to win and become the new undisputed welterweight champion for the women's division there. And yeah, don't really know much on them, but like I said, Jessica, who is an undisputed champion, but I want to go for at least one underdog on this card, and that is going to be Alma Ibarra. So Alma, do not let me down there. And in the main event, we have Jesse Bam Rodriguez, who is 15-0 with 10 knockouts, versus Sirsaket Sor Rungviasi, who is 50 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw with 43 knockouts for the WBC Super Flyweight Champion. And I am going with Jesse Bam Rodriguez to come out the champion. Now, the Alma and Jessica fight, I'm going to say that's going to go the decision, the unanimous decision for Alma to pick up the win and for her to become the undisputed champ. But I am going to go with Jesse Bam Rodriguez to knock out. He is going to knock out Sirsaket. I'm going to say in the 11th round to either knockout or TKO stoppage. I don't know which one, but I don't think that fight's going to go to the decision. I think Bam's going to apply pressure all night, and if he does, I see him walking out and retaining his title. So, anyways, that is it for this episode. This episode is officially the longest one we've done so far. So, I want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Comment down. Let me know what you think down below. And follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram. And if you are on Facebook, I'm going to put the link on for my Facebook, the Facebook page, that you guys can give that a like there. And also, so you guys can add me on this Facebook. It is a special personalized Facebook for the Knockout Zone. For if you're an upcoming boxer and eventually want to come on the show, you can message me there. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up on Instagram. I'm still waiting for this interface to come in. And then hopefully by next month, I'll be buying a microphone. And then we will start setting up interviews. Like I said, I already got a few. Basically, I got a few locked in, and then I'm going to be locking in more as I go. But again, I'm waiting on the equipment to come in. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for listening. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, comment down, let me know what you think down below. I hope you guys all have a good weekend, and I will see you all next week. This is Kevin Solorzano from the Knockout Zone, officially signing off.